Hey, good morning. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Today I'm going to show you well, you talk about an inexpensive brooder box. Here we go. Uh, this was a shipping crate that we got from a shipping company that my wife works for. They had it sitting on their loading dock empty. And some of the drivers said, man, you can get these things from just about any place that ships in glassware, things of this nature, because it's mainly what they're used for. Anyway, real solid, sits up on a pallet. You get just the box, but it's a pretty sturdy built box, plywood sides. Makes a great little brooder if you're setting up brooders out in the barn, things of that nature. Okay. Because it protects from the wind blowing through and things of that nature. So, makes a great little box. I was going to show it to you empty. Didn't really get to do that because we moved these little guys in here last night to give them some space, get them out of that tote. They'd kind of outgrown all that. And they've made themselves right at home. Had quite the fun of it last night because the red light, for some reason, was attracting June bugs. And so you're looking at some very well-fed birds because they were having a little hunting and feast party going on here last night when they first got out here, getting the June bugs that were hitting that red light and then dropping down onto the bedding. So they had a pretty good time. But anyway, it's just a simple plywood box on a pallet. Got their feed and water set up there on a little platform. Apparently, I didn't make the platform high enough because they're still getting a bunch of bedding in their water, which these guys will pack that thing full. And we have a heat lamp for them. It's hung a little low because primarily when we set this box up, this was going to be for 3-4 day old chicks, and these guys are a little older than that, so that heat lamp was kind of low. Raised it up as much as I could without taking it out of the brooder, and I figured that there's enough room here for them to get away from the heat, and indeed they were. They were kind of circled to about a 6-8 inches perimeter of the light there. And slept pretty good last night. And it didn't get all that cold. I mean, we're probably talking, got down to about 60 degrees. So, it would, underneath that light, I had run a temperature check on it. And at 60 degrees, it was close to 90 degrees directly under the light. So, even small chicks should do okay with it. And then, like I said, I wired about all I had to do really was just build a little top frame, put some hinges on, set a light up, kind of set the light up so I could raise and lower the lid to access feeders and stuff. But pretty simple. Probably not, well, other than, even including the light, we're probably only talking maybe $12 worth of materials here. New light, new bulb, the whole shooting match. So pretty inexpensive if you look around. And appropriately labeled, handle with care, that works. Gives them a little more space than in a tote. We have got a batch that went in Wednesday, which are all good eggs, so we should have a good hatching out of that. But then today I got surprised. If you all remember the little girl that was in the brooding box or in the roosting box next to broody mama sitting on eggs, her eggs hatched today. So my game plan for today was to go in and clean the main coop today, and then get back on working on these chick coops. But that didn't happen. So what I'm going to be doing, try not to do this without giving you, if you're wanting some idea, this is a tote we had in the house, although we have picked up a bigger tote for this next batch, to that. So these guys can really get in here and do some leg stretching. Let me take you around and see if we can show you Little Miss. Let me show you how this is done and her chicks. She's got some, I'm not going to get too close because the chicks run for cover. But there they are. Got a couple, we got 4 lavender Orpingtons out of it, and it looks like the other 2 are actually 3 are the Australorps. So I'm playing hen house guard today, and yeah, the secondary thing is we now have Little Miss. I don't know if you can see her in there. Little Miss, hey, this chick thing looks like fun. Let me see if I can do it. She was sitting on this clutch of eggs that was laid this morning, and this clutch of eggs was a little larger, so she decided, I guess, let me go for numbers here. I want to be the mama with the most chicks. There are still 4 eggs, and like I said, excuse my, yeah, there's a couple of them that are still tucked up underneath her, but yeah, maybe, yeah, at least one of them still tucked underneath her. Very shy little guy, or girl. They can't reach to drink out of the big chicken waters yet, so I just set a little coffee can lid down there and filled it up with water and some food for them. That's chick starter there they got. I didn't want them scratching around too much for the layer formulas. But yes, this little lady that you cannot see, black chicken dark box, doesn't work well. Just trying to decide which clutch egg she wants to sit on. That makes, yeah, she's going for that group. As far as broody chickens go, the Australorp have just gotten my wow, these are broody chickens award. Because, you know, this is the second hatch we've had. We've had 3 go broody. One finally just got up and walked away. But we had 3 go broody. And now we've got number 4. You can barely see her little cone in there. Number 4 is positioning herself to start another hatching. And I may have to sell my incubator. These girls are just like getting it. There are still 4 eggs left that I'm going to gather up here as soon as I'm finished recording, and I'm going to run those over to the incubator and go ahead and put them in and see if I'll candle them first and see if there's any signs of life in there. And if there is, then I'm going to go ahead and put them into an incubator and see if we can go ahead and hatch them out. Yeah, kind of amazing. Very broody hens, and do a pretty good job taking care of them. They really do. So anyway, my plan for today was clean chicken coop. My secondary plan, which now has been put fully into place, is going to be set up a maternity ward for Little Miss. Let me show you how this is done, and her chicks, because I'd just as soon let Mama raise them. But as crowded as this coop is, I don't want to risk anything happening to them. So, and since there's 2 a lot older roosters that hang out in here and so forth, the likelihood of a problem is there. So I'm going to go ahead and build an isolation section right now and get them moved in there. now that all the other chickens are out of here, I'm going to lock down the coop so that it's just her and the one broody hen, who probably will not be going anywhere, to keep chicks safe. I don't want to have to take the chicks away from her like we had to with broody mama to keep them alive. So it's kind of I'd rather this one be able to show us how it's done. But I know it's a very strange name for a chicken, but it seems to fit. So I think some of these Australops have now got names. Little Miss, let me show you how this is done. And up there, somewhere in the dark, is Little Miss. Hey, this looks like fun. So she's been putting her little nest together around her and rolled her eggs around, and she's getting ready to go for the duration, which I'm glad she's in that particular box, because the other boxes are really too small for hatching. And as you can see, there's probably about 8 inches extra space on that box there. It wasn't planned that way, it just worked out that way. And I can set a small food bowl and small water bowl up there to where the chicken's not totally starving and going without anything to drink. Because I have seen these girls, once they get in there, they stay put. They'll get off every now and again, get a drink and food, but then when that hatch gets closed, they just stay on them. So anyway, we got 6 chicks out of this one. Still see 4 eggs over there. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll candle them real quickly and see if they're viable, and if they are, then I'm gonna go ahead and move them into the incubator and maybe come up with a few more chicks. And I may go ahead and give this girl, I think she's only sitting on about 4 or 5 eggs where she's at. I may go ahead and give her, I got a couple of copper Moran eggs over here, and I think a couple lavender eggs I see over in this other box. So I may give her some extra eggs to sit on. So that is that. Chicks everywhere. Here you got another chick flick. What do you think? But we're gonna let Mama raise these. See how it goes. Let her keep her chicks. Let her do her thing. After all, she's wanting to show us how it's done, so let's let her do it. But fascinating. I came in here to start cleaning out the coop, had all my implements of destruction in hand, just to find out that scratch that right off your agenda, because I got baby chicks running around on the floor. So as soon as I get her moved, it looks like I'll be cleaning the coop late tonight. And like I said, little girl here, God love her, she's decided she wants chicks too, not to be left out. So, anyway, and of course all the other chickens have been hovering around trying to see if they can figure out a way to get their butts in here. I've had a couple of them go in and drink and so forth, and it not be a problem, but locking down the coop just to make sure that it does not become a problem. Look at my messy barn here. But yeah, this thing here is what I really want to tell you folks about. If you look around, call some shipping companies, ask them if they have some old pallets and crates on the shipping dock. This thing's just basically nailed together and got some straps on it, and some stout sheet metal straps to hold it all square, and it works out real good and cheap. I mean, it's nothing, free. The shippers, the shipping companies, the trucking companies and so forth will just bust these up and throw them away. So if they know you'd be interested in them, they'll hang on to them for you. That way they don't have to spend the man hours, busting them up, throwing them in the dumpster. They'll just have your number posted, and they'll just call you and say, come get your crate. So, like I said, light, bulb, chicken wire hinges, whole shooting match. I'd say $10 to $12 tops is what I, to finish it off into a brooder. And pretty solid for small chicks, especially if you've got them out into, like we do here, an area that could get a little breezy. And of course, like I said, at night we're getting down into the 60s. Light will be just fine for them. And discovered I have to hurry up and build a isolation pen for another chicken. Life is interesting on a homestead. You'll find that out very quickly when you start doing it. That doesn't matter what you plan to do that day. It matters what your livestock is planned for you. And I love sitting here listening. I don't know if it's picking it up over the phone, but she's in there talking to her chicks, and they're talking back. It's kind of nice listening to. And does the same thing as like a rooster does with feed and so forth. When I set the food and the water down, and she called them out from underneath her and started showing them the food and the water, and they took advantage of it. So, yeah, but like I said, this is a good cheap way to go here, folks. Like I said, I think the handle cost less than $1, and I think $1 or $2 for hinges and your light, your wire, and the little plywood corners I had to cut to kind of stabilize the lid. That was left over from our flooring job, which turned out beautifully. And when I get those all edited together, you want to talk about a cheap way to end up with some good-looking hardwood floors. There it is. Okay, I think that's probably about all I'm going to have for today, because to be quite honest with you, I've got a lot to get done. And but like I said, it's just a little box on a pallet. I am planning to move this out of here and put it into the feed room where it'll be more protected for any fall chicks or so forth that we decide to hatch out, depending on how many people want chicks. So that's all from down here. Calf's doing great, the cows are doing good, grass is up, the sun is shining. I've got the gardens we started planting, so life is getting good, and hopefully here in a few weeks then we can start hoeing weeds. Gee, it never ends. And and that's all right. It's part of it. I was talking to a neighbor. Matter of fact, 2 of them came down this morning, and it's one of those. The guys all get together and stand there and BS about what they're planning this year. And anyway, in the conversations we were talking about the fact that the lifestyle, when you have to go to the job in the city or whatever, that's work. It's physically draining, it's mentally draining, and all those fun things. But it's like last night I'd worked a 9-hour shift at my job. I do work a part-time job, for those of you that haven't caught that in other videos. Don't work a lot, I only work a couple days a week, but they're full days. And whenever they need me, they'll call me in. But when I got home at 5 o'clock, there's no sitting down on the couch and watching ball games or any of that sort of stuff. I came out here, and the wife had picked up the box and had it sitting on the trailer. So I grabbed the box, ran it in here, and built a brooder. And so I finally got done with that about 11 o'clock last night. By the time I got bedding in, got it warmed up, got the chicks in it. And, but, to be honest with you, the 5 to 11 shift was more fun than the 8 to 5 shift. So, when you're doing what you love, it doesn't seem like work. So, anyway, this is an idea you might be able to utilize. If nothing else, looking at the construction of it, that's just Luan plywood over some little 3/4 inch by, look like about 3-inch slats. It wouldn't take probably more than about $10 or $15 in materials as far as the wood, to build something like this and set it on top of a pallet. The neat thing of it was they did have the Luan wood underneath on the floor, so it's got a solid floor underneath it that Cindy had painted with a food grade epoxy paint before we put the bedding down. So it'll be real easy to clean. We'll just be able to wipe it out and be done with it once we take the dirty bedding up. So anyway, this is a cheap brooder idea. I know it's not the fanciest thing. You probably wouldn't want it sitting in your kitchen. But if you have to put them out into an outbuilding, this would be the way to do it. And while I love chickens to death, chicks can really stink. And, so this is a good way to keep it clean, keep the aroma down, and like I said, it's fairly inexpensive. So anyway, I need to get busy. I've got to get myself an isolation ward so that I can get let me show you how it's done, and her chicks relocated, and I need to get those 4 eggs into get them candled and get them into an incubator. Although right now, it's inside this barn, it's probably a good 80, 85 degrees, so I don't think it's going to be too bad of a deal. Anyway, that's all from down here at Tennessee Homestead. As I said, life changes at a whim when you're dealing with any kind of living creatures, and that's okay. That's the fun of it. Okay, just kind of roll with it, smile, and move on. And I can always clean the chicken coop tomorrow. Oh boy, it gives me something to look forward to. Alrighty, you folks have a great day, and I hope this kind of helps you out with maybe an idea for your own brooder. Have a good one.